Good morning, this is Wishwell Farms. I'm Jason, and today is the first day of cauliflower harvest. And if I cut the stem too long, I'll just slice off a little bit of it. I like to hold it like this, hack off some of those long wrapper leaves, and it's ready to go in the tub. When they're big, it's hard to get a lot in the tub, maybe 8 to 10 max, because we got to make sure they're stackable. So if they're big, we'll have to kind of wiggle those in to the middle of the stack so it doesn't stick out above the top of the plastic so we can stack it. But right now we're just getting everything cut and putting our full tubs out there on that blank row of plastic where there's no plants, and then we'll get them all in the wagon, get them up in the barn, and then get them stacked. That's probably as small as we're going to go today. They're just starting. That's probably your typical size of cauliflower you see in the supermarket, but we like ours to be bigger. But I don't want to wait and harvest this next week because it'll be exposed to the sun all week and it'll start turning purple on us. So we're going to go ahead and pick everything that's that size or bigger today. So if you look out here, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 double rows of cauliflower planted on plastic. This first row over here is Flame Star and De Purple. They're orange and purple cauliflower. We'll get to those after we finish up the white. I think we have 3.5, maybe 4 full rows of white, and each row is a different variety. I'm gonna throw the varieties up on the screen right now so you can see what they are, because I don't remember what they are off the top of my head. And there'll be some in every row, but I plant some early ones, some mid-season ones, and late season ones. They really kind of all come on together. Sometimes there's maybe a week gap between the varieties, which is good. So they're not all coming on at once today. That's good. I don't want to pick 1,000 heads of cauliflower. We just need about 25 tubs. That's what's on the wagon over here. So we're gonna try to fill 25 tubs. I'm only running 2 farmers markets now, Worthington and Clintonville. I can sell about 6 to 10 tubs at Clintonville and 12 to 20 tubs worth at Worthington. So that's why we brought 25 tubs down. I think that'll kind of max out our 2 farmers markets tomorrow. And that's probably all we'll get. So let's get busy harvesting. We'll see what we get. And I think it's going to be a beautiful day to sell cauliflower at the farmers markets tomorrow. It's shaping up to be a clear blue sky today and tomorrow. It was rather foggy this morning. There was actually some 2-hour delays at the local schools, but the fog is lifted and it is looking beautiful out. So like I said, I don't remember which each variety is right now, but I like this variety because of how many wrapper leaves it has. That cauliflower is ready for harvest, even though you can't see it. Pull back some of these wrapper leaves. Look at it, there it is. Look at that beautiful white curd. About 7 inches across, maybe 8. So when you have good wrapper leaf coverage, you don't have to worry about them turning yellow and purple from sun exposure because they stay covered. It's a beautiful head of cauliflower right there. Another good thing about the wrapper leaves is it prevents the butterflies and the moths out here from laying eggs on the curd. When the curd's exposed, if you're not spraying these things at least once a week, maybe twice a week, to kill off all the moths and butterflies that can lay eggs on here, they're going to be covered and speckled with green and black eggs, and it's very ugly. You either can't sell them or you got to wash them off. We're getting some really nice big ones. Check those out. Almost 10 inches across. When they've been open and exposed to the sun, they start getting some purple, like I mentioned. It's just barely starting on this one. And there's some of those eggs you can see. I mean, it's just cosmetic. Those wash right off. But the purple and pink color, if it's only that bad, we go ahead and pick it. That's not bad at all, really. It is a very wet one out here today. Lots of dew, from the heavy fog. It made it really dewy out here. So we always wear our waterproof rain pants to keep dry. Here is a Flame Star, pretty orange color. And here's a flame star that was ready a week ago, maybe 2 weeks ago. That's what happens to it. They start sprouting or bolting. The florets kind of sprawl out, and it's covered in mold and worms and everything else. And here's what the DePurple looks like. Those are really pretty, and those sell really well. The DePurple and Flame Star don't sell as much as the white, but it's close because they're really unique. You don't ever see those at the grocery stores. So when you have purple and orange cauliflower sitting out on the table along with the white, it really pops. It's really pretty, and people love them at the farmers markets. Yeah.
So bad because it died all of the juice.
If you're wondering what these are, this is Jimson weed. See these vicious spike balls? These turn brown, open up, and release hundreds of little black seeds. So when we come across a Jimson weed, saw it off. Boy, they're tough. It's just on one spot. All right, we just finished harvesting all the white cauliflower. Now we are harvesting the orange ones and the purple ones. We used to plant one called cheddar, and I think we're planting all Flame Star now. And we used to plant a purple one called graffiti, but I think we're now planting the purple. We might have a little bit of both. This is kind of an ugly head of purple cauliflower, but it's big enough. Now, if you look real close, I don't know if the GoPro is gonna pick it up. Can you see the little things that look like hairs on there? There, get some light on it. It almost looks like little hairs growing off the curd. That is called ricing. Ricing is typically an environmental issue. I mean, it could be a fertilization issue too, but usually the extreme heat or maybe some lack of irrigation can cause ricing. We normally don't have too much of that, but in really hot summers when I've grown early spring cauliflower, we get a lot of ricing. And that's one reason I stopped growing spring cauliflower and just stick with fall cauliflower. But since it was really dry this year and really hot while these were starting to form heads, that's probably why we have some ricing. So here's one that Elijah just picked, no ricing. So it's not on all of them, just some. Some of the Flame Stars are a little on the small side, but if we don't pick them this week, they'll start getting black mold around them because they're completely exposed to the sunlight now. Here's what I'm talking about. See the ugly black mold starting to grow around it. There's one that's really bad. That's a nice flame star. That's the way we like them all to look. Now we're getting into some of the good purple cauliflower. That's a nice purple. There's the biggest one of the day right there. 10 inches across. That's how much bigger it is in my hand. My goodness, there's a lot of nice purple ones out here. There's another big one. We got a long way to go. We're gonna fill up a lot of tubs. All right, time to get everything loaded up. We got 35 tubs. About have the loading wrapped up. A few more tubs of purple and orange. All right, we're all loaded up, heading back up to the barn, get it in the cooler. All right, I got all the cauliflower backed up in the barn, ready for moving to pallets. A lot of these are not stackable because we kind of heaped them all up. So we're gonna have to kind of move these around, finagle them around, maybe move some of the bigger ones to new tubs so we can get these all stacked in stacks of 4 high on these pallets so it's easier for putting on the box trucks tomorrow morning for the farmers markets. The guys just finished up zucchini. They're on their way up to help me pack all of this. I'm gonna set you up on time lapse so you can see the action in supersonic speed. Into the cooler we go. Still got quite a bit of stuff in here to load up tomorrow morning. We ended up with 25 tubs of white cauliflower, 7 tubs of purple, and 5 tubs of yellow. Then we got 4 skids of sweet corn, a skid of cabbage, 2 skids of broccoli, then a whole bunch of cucumbers and zucchini and bell peppers, jalapenos, some more cabbage and cucumbers and cantaloupes over here, and about 5 partial bins of cantaloupes, the final cantaloupes of the season. And down in my tomato storage room, I have the 8 bins of butternut and spaghetti squash. I'll be rolling out half of those to load on the 2 trucks this afternoon for tomorrow's farmers markets, and then the other 4 will be for the next 2 weeks, and then we'll be wrapping up our season. The final thing being harvested today is eggplant. The crew's down there picking 5 tubs of eggplant. While they're out there finishing up the eggplant, I'm gonna go ahead and back up the 2 box trucks that'll be going to the Columbus farmers markets tomorrow. And it's just about lunchtime, so I'm gonna take a lunch break, then I'll be back out to load tomatoes and butternut spaghetti squash, and the rest of it will be loaded tomorrow morning before they head out to Columbus. I'm currently loading tomatoes onto the box trucks for tomorrow morning. We got to pack them pretty tight because I'm going to be putting an entire bin of butternut and spaghetti squash back here in the corner. So we'll get all the tomatoes stacked in this corner, butternut and spaghetti over in that corner, and then there'll be a little walkway back here for them to be able to get to the squash, and corn and zucchini, cucumbers, eggplant, peppers will all be on the other side of the squash. Originally, I was going to swap that around. I like to have this all empty for Saturday morning to put tall stacks of corn right back up here in the corner so they can't ever tip over while she's driving to Columbus. However, it's going to really slow me down having to do squash last tomorrow morning. And originally I was going to have a pallet jack in here for them to push out full bins of squash out onto display at the farmers markets. But that's just going to be a big pain and a hassle. So it's a huge footprint too, putting 2 bins out in front of our tents. So I think it's going to be better to do it in here, have them up here in the front and leave them in here permanently. And I'll just give them more of these empty tubs for making big displays of squash. So I told her to put out at least 3 or 4 each of these full of butternut and spaghetti. So she'll have 6 or 8 tubs out on display and a great big sign hanging over the top of them that says buy one, get one free. We're going to go ahead and start running our sale now because we're on our final 3 good weeks of farmers markets. If we still have some stuff left over, we'll go to a 4th week, which would be October 18th. But as of right now, we're trying to make October 11th our final farmers market day. So we'll see how the next couple go and we'll make a decision later. All right, all the tomatoes are loaded up in here in the Worthington truck. She's getting 26. And I'm giving 18 to Clintonville. And we'll probably have about a dozen on the trailer. And tomorrow is our final day of running our trailer at our satellite location. Tomato sales have actually bounced back just a little bit as of last week because a lot of other vendors are running out of tomatoes. Home gardeners and market gardeners are running out of tomatoes. So we noticed the same problem. You know, ours are fizzling out. It's getting harder and harder to find them. But since we have so many out there to choose from, we're able to get enough for our 3 market locations. So they're kind of in high demand again. But another week or two, it's going to be getting real hard for even us to find tomatoes for the markets. You know, there was a couple Saturdays there about 2 or 3 weeks ago where Clintonville didn't even sell 10 boxes of tomatoes just because there were so many being sold at all the other vendor stands. But I bet you now there's only a handful selling tomatoes just because the end of the season is coming quickly. And as far as sweet corn goes, I'm pretty sure we're the only vendor selling sweet corn at all of our market locations now. Everybody else has finished up for the season. So it makes ours in real high demand again. So thankfully we got that rain to bring on our final acre of sweet corn. So we should still have a good harvest even next weekend. All right, all the tomatoes are loaded up. Now it's time to work on everything else in this truck so I have room to bring in those bins of squash. Having this hose reel has been a game changer for me this year. For the past 20 years, I've just been using a regular 8-foot, 10-foot hose, whatever that is. And I would back every truck up here to fuel it up before I backed it into position. You know, normally we have another truck here and another truck out there and the trailer in the barn. So it is so convenient to be able to pull that reel out and fuel them up later in the day and not first thing before I back them into position. Saves me a lot of time. All right, time to load this squash. So I got to bring a jack up into the truck, get it out of the way towards the front of the truck, and then put a bin on one at a time, turn them around, push them into the nose of the truck. All right, we got the bin of spaghetti squash on here. Now we just need to get it turned around and put it in the nose of the truck. It'd be impossible to do this in the morning when there's tons of other stuff in here. So it either has to be done first thing or very last thing. And if you did it last, it'd have to be the first thing to come off the truck. So you can see how easy it is to get it rolled or turned around. All right, this is what the trucks look like right now with the 2 bins of winter squash. But I'm concerned I'm not going to have room in here for everything tomorrow morning. I need room for 35 tubs of sweet corn, 20 tubs of cauliflower, about 15 tubs of broccoli, and then a couple tubs of zucchini and cucumbers and bell peppers. So what I think I'm going to have to do is put pallets on top of these bins of squash and then stack stuff on top of the pallets all the way up here. You know, I don't have room to just leave that there. There's no way I'll get it all in here. But most of that will get figured out tomorrow morning. I'll be out here at like 4:30 finishing up these trucks. But I'm pretty much done packing for today, just waiting on our mobile market trailer to come home from our satellite location so I can repack some of her stuff and have her ready for her final day tomorrow morning. I think this is where we're gonna wrap this one up today, folks. Unfortunately, I cannot make it to the farmer's market tomorrow morning, but I will have Emma do some filming. So enjoy these scenes of the Worthington Farmers Market. As always, thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate it. Don't forget to like the video if you enjoyed it, and I will see you all again next time down on the farm.